I want to apologize to y'all real quick. Can I do that? Because I got to see, I've always known it, but I got to see on another level how beautiful this church is the last week. As a matter of fact, I can tell you straight up that Shannon at Southern Hills said the week after that message that he was cut in half attendance, and we're bigger. I can already tell you we got more people here than last week. That does not, I want you to know that does not, what that speaks to is that we are the type of church that we don't attack anybody. And I want that to continue because every person on this planet is loved by Jesus. And that is what we are going to be and always going to be. Thank you for being a beautiful church. Now I'm going to apologize because I'm going to be better about this. I need to acknowledge how beautiful you guys are as much as I can and as much as because I think about you all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and start today with the volunteers. Do we got that picture of the 15 people? Were we able to do that? I know things went so crazy. 15 people, guys, yesterday came and just worked on this entire facility, landscaping. They busted their tail. And they busted their tail. They worked hard. I can tell you, I think Tim Singleton, both his vehicles crashed out. He was still here. And I got to do a better job of just highlighting how beautiful this place is because it is. And it's just beginning. I'll say that for a long time to come. Let me get some water real quick before I get rolling. Y'all want me to do that? Bradford is tiring, isn't it? No, I'm talking about it's tiring. He's like a decade older than me and got more energy still. I wish I could. So when you don't want to say you're single because you're not single, but you also don't want to say you're in a relationship because you're not in a solid relationship, what is your relationship status on Facebook? It's complicated. It's complicated. That's it. There it is. Boom. I'm going to tell you, that is not just our answer for that. That is our answer for way too many things in life. That's my title today, by the way. It's complicated. Now I want you, I'm going to look at every one of you in the eye. I can't, but I'm going to try, but you can look at me. You ready? You ready? Y'all ready for this? It's really not complicated. It's really not complicated. It's really not. You know? You date a jerk. He's a jerk. That's just the season he's in his life. And you're trying to find your value in fixing him. And it's going to break your heart if you don't walk away. And you're going to waste a lot of time. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. Matter of fact, the reason that the person you date, y'all argue over stupid stuff all the time. You've been together for 18 million years, and you're still just as volatile as day one of the first week once the puppy love rolled out. The reason that is because y'all are not compatible. You argue over stupid stuff because you are not for each other, but there comes a time that you've wasted so much time that what you do is you were afraid to move on and start over because a part of you is scared that you can't do any better. And you make a decision to keep yourself stuck for the rest of your life. It's really not complicated. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. But here's the thing, we do that with every area of our life. We want to complicate things that we do not want to confront. And there is a ton of things in life that are not simple, they are not easy, but they are not complicated. Matter of fact, here's my point to you, and I want to drill it home all day. It's convenient to keep it complicated. Oh, it's convenient to keep it complicated. It's real convenient. See, we like to complicate things so that we don't have to make choices. I'm talking to some people, I'm talking to everybody because we all do it. When you look in the mirror, it's convenient to work your way around things that you know you need to address, work on, and deal with. And it is very easy if you stand there and manipulate your mind enough to complicate it where you don't have to confront it. It's easy. Matter of fact, I see everybody on social media land, and honestly, in real life, you just don't get to see as many people as you get to post to, that we like to defend our intentions, man. Well, it wasn't what I meant. It wasn't my heart. But here's the thing. I know your intentions are good. Man, I've told people for a long time, people are good. They're just broken. But here's the thing. here's the thing. Your intentions aren't the problem. Your actions are the problem. And if you will look in the mirror and not try to manipulate to make your mind to make yourself feel better, you can actually get better. But there's some things in our life that we do not want to confront. And because we don't want to confront them, we want to complicate them. And you die one day miserable because you truly were never honest with yourself enough to deal with some things. And because of that, your entire life, those things dealt with you. It's not complicated. It's not, and I'm going to prove it to you today. It's not. Can I just speak this to you? Most, if not all, the damage in your life is because of the decisions you're not making. I'm going to go a step further. Most, if not all, the bad decisions you have made are because you complicated it because you didn't want to make the right decision, even though it was a hard decision. It wasn't a complicated one, so you made no decision or not the easy decision, and that's where the damage comes from. Your bad decision is because you had tried to avoid the things you needed to deal with, and they've choked the life out of you for a long time. Oh, it's not that complicated. But we like to do, just like our social media, everything that we don't want to confront, we want to label as complicated. We want to talk about it, don't want to talk about the people we love, don't want to talk about the people we're asking. We just say it's complicated, and it's really not complicated. Look at somebody right now and say, keep it simple, Ben. Keep it simple. You need to keep it simple. So I'm going to try to keep it simple today. Moses was an Israelite. For those of my people that are newer to the Bible, he was an Israelite that was raised an Egyptian. Okay? How that worked is for 4 centuries, Israel were slaves to Egypt because, they got saved in Egypt because, saved from a famine, and then 400 years later, they were slaves. And the reason they were enslaved in Egypt is because Israel began to grow so much that they had more people than Egypt. And Egypt got scared, so they took them as slaves. And so what happened is they still started growing. The mama still started hiding her baby because let me tell you, y'all know my mama's in here like you don't play with my baby. So what they started doing is coming and confiscating the babies and throwing them in the Nile River. And Moses' mama, God put on her heart that Moses is going to be special. And so she hid him for as long as she could. And the Bible says she weaved a basket, sent him down the river to protect him and prayed the protection of God. And it just so happens that Pharaoh's daughter, the emperor of all Egypt, was bathing in the river, and Lightstone saw this basket and raised Moses. So Moses was an Israelite raised in Egyptian royalty for a reason. And I want you to know, whatever situation you're in right now, however ridiculous and dysfunctional it is, however discouraging, no matter what the bank account is, God still, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, God still has a purpose and a reason for you and for your life. God was very strategic in the way Moses was raised. And what happened is Moses always had a heart for Hebrew people because he was a Hebrew. He was an Israelite. And one day he was walking around. He was 40 years old. He was walking around and he saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite because they were slaves. And he lost his crap and killed the Egyptian. This is Moses. You know what he did next? He ran. For the next 40 years, he ran to the desert. And he spent 40 years avoiding the decisions that he ran from 40 years before. 80 years old, we're about to pick up. You guys like the burning bush. If you know much about the Bible, the burning bush is God talking to Moses. And God tells Moses, I see my people's pain. I've seen how bad they've hurt. I've seen how long they've been in slavery. And I want you to know that was a 4th century thing. And God sees us in 2020. He sees it. And where we're about to pick up is God tells Moses, and Moses, you're what I want to do about it. You imagine if God in a burning bush tells you to come close, you're communing with God, and he says, okay, here's the thing, man. I want you to go free 2 million Israelites from the most powerful nation in the world. And we are about to see that Moses tried to complicate it and complicate it and complicate it. And I want us to truly see that this is our story. Matter of fact, look at somebody right now and say, you ready? We're about to open up the scripture. And I do not want us to just study scripture. I want us to go out of here and do something with it. Y'all want that? I'm I'm terrible at reading aloud. Y'all know that I lose my spot. Y'all know that I narrate. I go on ADD side trails, so it's going to be on the screen. Follow me. Y'all ready? We're going to grow. We're going to do something with the scripture. So here we go. We're right in the middle of the conversation. Now go, for I am sending you. This is God sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt. For Moses protested to God. This is the beginning. Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? God answered, and this is beautiful, y'all. This is as simple as it gets. I will be with you. Whatever the bank account looks like, whatever your marriage looks like, whatever your anxiety level looks like, whatever the chemical imbalances in your brain, whatever your stress level because you're killing it in life, but you're too busy and you're overextended, whatever you're facing, you need to know that's as simple as it gets. He said, I'm with you. And Jesus, when he ascended, the last thing he told his disciples is, I will be with you until the end of the age. When he handed the baton off, he said, I will never leave you. I will be with you. But Moses protested. If I go to the people of Israel and tell them the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. He says, I am who I am. This is a name. See, Moses has been out of touch with his Hebrew people for 40 years, so he may have forgotten God's name, and God uses a name. And this Hebrew name, which kind of ties into Elohim, basically what God was telling Moses is he was saying, I was, I am, I always will be, and that's all you need to know. He said, I am. Tell them I am sent you. He says, Moses, I am what you lack. And he says it thousands of years later. He says to you, Catalyst Church, I am whatever you lack. I am what you're afraid of. I am what you need. Whatever you lack, I am. Whatever you got going wrong, I am. And don't you forget about it, Moses. Whatever your insecurities are, whatever's holding your head down, whatever sin or flaws are in your life, he says, I am. He says, I am. He says, Moses, I have not changed. You have changed. Come after me and just know that I got what you need. Matter of fact, can I do that? I know every year, for some reason, everybody shares the video of me rapping 18 million years ago. And somebody always replies, man, you look young 6 years ago. And I have to, now it was camp, and he knows it, my cousin. And I'm like, yeah, that's what living does if you do it right, man. And everybody was like, they want an encore. You want an encore. Well, you're not getting rap today. But for all my irrelevant old people that know this song, I'm going to give you the lyrics. I'm going to change them up because this is what God was telling Moses in like 1989 vernacular. But I was alive then. Most of you weren't. God was saying to Moses, oh, baby, I got what you need. Y'all got my old relevant folks, you remember that? My young people, I'm sorry that you live in an inferior time. That's on you. Actually, it's not. I'm sorry. Moses says, I got you. Or excuse me, God. God says, I got you. He says, I got you. I'm what you need. I'm all you need to do what I've called you to do. Now go. And Moses starts complicating it. And as we read further, you may laugh, but don't laugh more than you learn. Because if you'll decide to look in the mirror and see that we do the same thing that he's about to do, and God actually holds his own, because a lot of us just exhaust everybody out of our lives, and God ain't playing that game with Moses. But Moses protested again. What if they don't believe me or listen to me? What if they say, Lord, the Lord never appeared to you? Then the Lord asked him, and I want you to hear this. What's in your hand? God's about to talk to him on a level that he talks to us every day. Because the reason that you feel unworthy in your life is because you've never truly known what you're working with. And when God shows you what you're working with, you've got so little confidence because you've made so many bad choices that you truly don't think you deserve what you're working with. Which is why we walk around and we're in a world full of people that are trying to be what they aren't and try to work something that God never put in their hand or on their heart. And I'm going to ask you the question. As we read this, I want you to ask yourself, what is in your hand and what has God put on your heart? Because God is about to speak to Moses and try to show him what he's working with. Because a lot of you walk around timid and you walk around feeling unworthy because you truly stop focusing on what you're working with. You're looking at everybody else. What's in your hand, Moses? A shepherd's staff, Moses replied. Throw it down on the ground, the Lord told him. So Moses threw down the staff, and it turned to a snake. Moses jumped back. Then the Lord told him, reach out and grab its tail. So Moses reached out and grabbed it and turned it back into a shepherd's staff in his hand. Perform this sign, the Lord told him. This is all you need to prove to Israel that you are my God. And the Lord told him, then they will believe that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has really appeared to you. Then the Lord said to Moses, now put your hand inside. What's in your hand, guys? What has God given you? Now put your hand inside your cloak, he says. So Moses put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out again, his hand was white as snow because it had a severe skin disease. Now put your hand back in your cloak, the Lord said. So Moses put his hand back in his cloak, and when he took it out, it was healthy as the rest of his body. The Lord said to Moses, if they do not believe you and are not convinced by the first miraculous sign, they will be convinced by the second sign. And if they don't believe you or listen to you, even after these two signs, then do this. He's even got like plan C for Moses. He does a lot more than that for us. You just got to be honest with yourself. Then take some water from the Nile River and pour it out on the dry ground. When you do, the water from the Nile will turn to blood on the ground. But Moses, God is literally taking a lot more time than he should with Moses because Moses is trying to complicate it. He does not want to do it. He's trying to work his way around it. He's living in fear. He's living in ridiculousness. And literally God is taking so much time. And then he tells him, look at all this craziness I put in your hand that you are going to do. You got what you need, Moses. And he gets desperate. But Moses pleaded with the Lord, oh God, oh Lord, I'm not very good with words. I never have been. And I'm not now, even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled. Moses had a speech impediment we know in history. I'm going to tell you one thing. If you've been here long enough, you know I get as tongue-tied and tangled as anybody on the planet. I'm telling you, I've got as much energy as any communicator out there, but I definitely don't have the eloquence. And if I stood up here and focused on what I did not have, I would never be able to give you what I do have. And Moses is like, man, how am I going to lead 2 million people? I can't even talk right. Well, he saved that chip for a minute. He wanted to play that one at the right time. He's like, I can't even talk. How am I going to lead, God? The Lord asked Moses, oh my goodness, who makes a person's mouth? Ask you that question. What's your malfunction? Who made you? Who made you? Your learning disability, your weight issue, whatever you are timid about, who made you? God says, Moses, who made your mouth, man? Who decides whether people speak or do not speak, hear or do not hear, see or do not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go. I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you in the way and what to say. But Moses pleaded again. He's complicating it, y'all. He's doing like we do, and we're going to see it. Lord, please send anyone else. Don't send me. I've made a good life in the desert, running from everything that I did. Then the Lord became angry with Moses. All right, he said. God has given so much grace. What about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he speaks well, and look, he is on his way to meet you now. He will be delighted to see you. Talk to him and put the words in his mouth. Put the vision in him, what's God saying. Put what I put into you, and he will speak for you, and I will instruct you both in what to do. We'll come back to that later. Moses spent so much time trying to complicate it because he wanted to tell God what he didn't have, why he couldn't do it, why he wasn't going to move forward. He spent so much time complicating it, just like we do. And God, because he didn't want to confront it, he didn't want to make the choice he needed to make, and he kept on and kept on and kept on. You know how many people have come into Catalyst and in the counseling office? Terry, Jason, you can amen this when you finally, they know, they got clarity. They know what they need to do. And this is usually the statement that I get or we get. It's this, well, I don't even know where to start anymore. I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even know what to do because, and here's the thing, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You don't want to start. And the reason that a lot of us don't want to start is because for so many years we've lived confused because we have tried to complicate what we do not want to confront. And you were never going to get change in your life, and you were going to always choke the greatest thing that you're going to choke yourself out, and you're not going to get the greatest thing God gives you until you quit complicating it and confront it. And we're about to get into what this looks like. You've got, if you truly want change, you've got to go at it. And there's some things that we like to complicate. We like to complicate. There's some things in your life that you have been praying about, but you need to patch some holes. There's some situations in your life. There are some decisions. There are some mindsets. There are some attitudes. There's some spirits in the way you do things. You got to patch some holes. Because there's some places in your life that the ship is sinking. And if you don't start patching holes, the things you're praying for, eventually you're not going to have anything to pray for anymore. Because we complicate it, and we complicate it, and we complicate it. And I didn't say that it wasn't easy. It's not. Look, the choices that you need to make, they're going to be challenging. I didn't say they were easy. I didn't say they weren't difficult. I said they are not complicated. They are not complicated. They are not complicated. And what we do is we try to complicate it because we don't want to confront it. So for the rest of this message, I want to show you what it looks like. So I want to practice. When I point at you, say keep it simple. You ready? You can do better. You can do way better. All right, I want that. I want that as we get into this thing because Moses was complicating it, and I'm going to show you how he was doing it. And there's some things in your life that you need to keep it simple and confront it, or you are never going to be able to make choices that give you life and give you everything that God has for you. You've got to confront it, and you've got to. All right, here we go. You got to quit posting about it all the time. We love to post about how we're going to prove our haters wrong, how the people that they're going to learn today, all that stuff. I'm going to tell you, you quit. You never are going to be able to confront things posting about them. You're never going to be able to confront anything in your life doing exactly what Moses did, except he was doing it to God. You're doing it to other broken people who you don't like or you're jealous of. Look, quit posting about it and do it. Because momentum in your life and motivation are never going to come by telling everybody else what you are capable of. Quit posting about it. Do it. You want to sustain momentum? You want to grow and keep growing? Quit telling everybody else what you're capable of. Man, quit. You know, Moses did this. When we spend so much time defending ourselves, you know that's what we live in our culture right now. Every part, not just political, we like to defend ourselves. Boo, boo. We make decisions, we want to defend ourselves. Do you know Moses did the same thing? He was defending himself. Do you know people that defend themselves, the reason they do it is they truly doubt themselves? Why did Moses kept saying, God, I can't do it? No, somebody else, because Moses doubted himself. And at some point, you've got to quit defending yourself and making decisions. Quit trying to defend yourself to your ex. Stop it. Quit trying to prove your teachers wrong that told you you couldn't do this. Quit trying to prove your parents wrong. Quit trying to defend yourself and move forward. Because you were never going to be able to gain ground because you have complicated it so much, and you're just like Moses, man. He defended himself because he truly doubted himself. And we expend our energy trying to defend what we truly believe anyway in ourselves. You want to create something with your life? Go prove yourself wrong. And quit worrying about proving everybody else wrong. Because you're the one with the insecurities. I know because I am a human. Stop. Just do it. One step at a time. And you won't have to talk about proving everybody wrong for the rest of your life. You actually create something for your life that you will never create, complicating it, not confronting it. Oh, it's convenient to complicate it. It's just going to kill everything that God wants to do in your life. Everything. Oh, your relationships aren't complicated. Oh, matter of fact, I didn't do it that time. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Your relationships aren't complicated. You know that? Oh, I got some married folks in here that don't want to say it because they're sitting beside their spouse. They're like, oh, what's he about to do? No, your relationships are not complicated. You just want to complicate it so you don't have to do anything about it. And you're going to complicate yourself into a divorce. You may have already done like 7 of them, and it's not complicated. You just complicate it because you don't want to do anything about it. I'm telling you, man. We do just like Moses. We complicate ourselves into 7 divorces. We complicate ourselves in a lot of things. Can I be honest with y'all? So we have like this pattern in our marriage, me and Angie. I'm usually the one that starts grieving, not spending enough time with her. She's like now right behind me. It used to be we got married, I was a single guy. She's like, she knew life. She was like, but now we're like neck and neck. I start grieving and I get pissy. And I get moody. And then she's right behind me. Before you know it, she's grieving because we spent so much time building a life, not just a big family. We invest our entire family in this place. Matter of fact, Angie was talking about how my cousin, Bradford, we truly invest in this place. And life could consume us if we let it. And Angie and I, man, we get pissy. And the kids will tell you, Garrett's 12 years old. And he'll tell you now, you don't even think about it. He's like, I know what's happening. Before you know it, we get into like some really, really inappropriate arguments and we don't even care who we're in front of. And finally, we're like, ding, it's like you'd think you'd learn, but ding, we're missing each other. Because I would want to build a life with nobody but Angie, but here's the thing. More than building a life together, we enjoy being together. And I've seen so many marriages that say, man, we have no connection anymore. We don't have a closeness. There is no connection. No, you quit investing in it. Because I promise, any connection you have in your life or closeness, if you don't invest in it, you will lose it. Y'all may have been married a lot longer than me, but I've had to learn. I don't care how close you are with your spouse. You don't invest in it, you'll lose it. Angie and I right now, we're probably sometime in a couple of days just going to go and Netflix binge in a hotel and eat what we want to eat and turn my phone off, because I promise you when I come back that next week, I will preach a little bit madder than I would if I'd have went this week. Some of you are like, well, our greatest connection is our kids. That is a terrible connection to build your life on. Because I promise you, your kids, and I'm getting to find out younger than most people my age, your kids will grow up and they will go build their own life, and you will still be with your spouse. And if you don't invest in that connection, it doesn't matter how much you loved each other 20 years ago, you will have to start all over when your kids are gone. Because the person that you chose to do life with, you didn't do life with, you just handled life with. I'm telling you, man, it's not complicated. It's not complicated. Whatever issues, a lot of things can happen over 10, 20, 5, 12 years when you don't invest in the connection that you built together and committed to. I tell you one thing, when we get in bad enough arguments, I'm like, you need to tell UWG, get off, we're going to the hotel, and we are going to do what we do, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to be like smiling for like 3 weeks. Because our kids are quickly moving out like Garrett. Quickly. And I'm going to tell you something. I love being around Angie. I miss my kids, but I am not alone in my house. And will never be as long as she sits right beside me on the couch and makes popcorn for me. It is not complicated. It is not complicated. Here's the thing. What you want to complicate it because you don't want to do what it takes, because it's going to take a lot of arguments. They're going to be annoyed by you because for years you didn't invest in them. You just pestered them, and they're going to think you're faking it or you're not really committed to it, and it's going to take months of commitment and growing yourself because at some point you overcomplicated it for so long and you're not close to the person that you chose to do life with. And I promise it's going to take some true commitment to regain the closeness that you neglected. But it's not complicated. Oh, it's not. It's not. Focus on your growth, not theirs. Invest in it. It's not complicated. Oh, you can do way better. Oh, man. I'm about to get in trouble for this one. Your childhood isn't complicated. Some of like, your childhood ain't complicated. You just don't want to relive it or replay it, so you repeat it. You don't want to process through it. You want to avoid it. And so you don't want to replay it. You don't want to deal with it, so you run from it, which is why you're repeating it. It's why the most offensive thing somebody can do is tell you you're like whoever hurt you or neglected you or pissed you off. You're just like them because instead of replay it and relive it so that you can learn from it, you just repeat it because you'd rather not deal with it, so guess what? It's going to deal with you. Choke the life out of you. I mean, I'm telling you, there are things, I got some of the best. I'm telling you, I'm grateful for my parents, and y'all know my story. It took me a long, they invested some great things, but there was some things, like with all parents, like Connor, and now can tell you there's some things he loves, but he is not going to repeat because he's going to learn from it. Same with my parents. There's some things I see, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. But I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to address it, and I'm going to tell my wife, I'm going to tell the kids, you hold me accountable when I'm being up. And that's not just my parents, that's every parent, because you know that you take things out on your kids because it's easy. But it ain't complicated. Your boss isn't complicated. And honestly, even if they are, which they're not, because people aren't complicated. I mean, you have a lot of different things happen, but people are predictable. I mean, even messed up people, we're very predictable. We just surprise people, but we're really predictable. Your boss isn't complicated. Let me get back to my point. Your boss isn't complicated. And here's the thing, even if they are, it's not your job to figure out your boss. It's your job to be respectable and do your job. It's not complicated. What happens is we spend so much time complicating it that we like to just figure everything else out because we don't want to look in the mirror and figure ourselves out because we're going to feel bad about it. But you may need to feel bad about it so that you can actually get better and not die miserable. It's not complicated. It's difficult, and it hurts, but it's not complicated. It's not complicated. If Facebook is causing you to hate people, it's not complicated. Get off Facebook. Just because you spent 15 years now on it doesn't mean it's not that season's over. Get off of it. If you want, quit posting about God. Why can't everybody just post pictures of their family anymore? If you want that, get on Instagram. It's not complicated. If you want to if you can't sleep at night because you're pissed off, because you go to bed seeing everybody's political opinion, and mostly, even if you agree with it, the way they said it's starting to piss everybody off, and like, if you don't like that, don't scroll before bedtime. Because what's going to happen is you're going to lose sleep, and you're going to lose sleep for like days because you're like, man, I'm just curious, but it's killing you. And then you take it out on everybody in your life that is low-hanging fruit and easy. And before you know it, it wasn't complicated how you got into the dysfunction and the bad habits and the crap that is burning bridges in your life and people don't want to be around you. It's simple. It's not complicated. The things in your life that are killing you, make adjustments. Small things lead to big things. Same as I said with your marriage. The small things are what create the big problems over time. You don't notice the small things until they become big things. It's every part of your life. Can I tell you something? You get to decide what people take from you. You get to decide it. You get to decide it. And I'm about to tell you straight up because we got this old concept that to be Christian, we've got to let people run over us because Jesus died on the cross. No, Jesus died on the cross for you. We are codependent and let people run over us because we want to be accepted by other people. Two different things. Two different things. Jesus wasn't a codependent. Jesus was not going to let people run all over him so that they could prove their loyalty to other people. That wasn't Jesus. He was a solid guy in God, you know. So I'm going to give you like an example of Angie, because like I argued with her like for years, but she was right. So we started Catalyst. Man. And she began to unfollow people from our past, from our last ministry. And like she began to unfollow. And when I say unfollow them, she didn't just unfollow the people that hurt us. She unfollowed the people that didn't hurt us, but that actually loved us and didn't treat us badly. But she unfollowed them for this reason, because they were always tagged in posting pictures with the people who did hurt us. And she told me, like, I argued with her, and it's one of those, she held her ground. She's like, no. Wasn't out of spite. She knew what she needed to do to find healing from people that really hurt us, and she did it. She did not apologize for it, and guess what? She found healing. She didn't do anything spitefully, but even people that she enjoyed and loved, she did what she needed to do. And here's the thing: if you want healing, you've got to quit making decisions that keep you stuck. We did that in every part of our life. We complicate it, We complicate it. We do. You want to get out of debt? Don't just pray to win the lottery. And just so you know, a lot of you pray to win the lottery, but you don't win it unless you play it. But that's neither here nor there. My point is, you gotta make a plan. You gotta make a plan to get out of debt, one paycheck at a time. Or guess what? You're not gonna get out of debt. You're gonna die owing a bunch of money. People are gonna be like, he died. He owes me. Make decisions that don't keep you stuck. It's not complicated. There are some people in your life that you need to create distance right now. And it's not because you don't love them and they were not for you in a season. It's because they are not going the same direction as you. And you can complicate it. You can say things like, but they did so much for me. You can be grateful for what people did to you and honorably tell them that we're going in different directions, and I don't want to stunt your growth, and I don't want you to stunt mine. Loyalty and martyrdom are two different things. Loyalty is Christian, martyrdom is not. And you don't have to do it spitefully, but it's not complicated, y'all. And that's what we do. We overcomplicate it because we don't want to make a solid choice. We don't. I'm going to tell you this. I know you got like a few more minutes? Okay, that's why we went to one event. So, when I got married, see, it was my fault. This is all my fault. I set the precedent. It's on me. When I got married, when I was single, I set the precedent. I was 24-hour pastor, boy. Call me at 2 a.m. I was going to answer the phone and give you counseling, even if I didn't get to sleep 2 more hours that night. That was who I was. I would counsel some people like 6 hours a week. Man, I was rolling. Then guess what? I married a woman with 4 kids, and bam! I had to figure out priorities or lose my sanity. And there were people that still to this day do not like me. And the relationship ending was my fault because they were like, "Ben's just overcompensating." No, I had less time. And now, as our church has expanded and grown, I wake up every morning and I have to pray and spend time with God and decide what I can give that day. I have to prioritize the people when you call me. If you want to be pastored, and by that I mean challenged, if you're able to hear my heart and you don't mind if I hurt your feelings because you trust me in the people that want to be encouraged and petted, I know I can do both, but I have to prioritize it because I'm only one person. And my point to you is you need to start having conversations with people that make life hard on you. And you need to start being around the people more that make life easy on you, that it's a joy to be around. It's not complicated. Do you want to confront it, is the question. Your marriage will die if you don't make decisions. Your scars will deepen. Your life will continue to be very stressful. Your wounds will only be deeper, and the holes that you put yourself in will only grow deeper, and you will be lonely, and you will struggle. But it's not complicated. God has got to confront it. And I want to finish this. Moses made a choice at 80 years old. He complicated it, and he complicated it. And he made a choice. Band, I missed my cue. You can go ahead and get ready. I'll get better at some point. No promises, but I'll try. Moses made a choice at 80 years old. He said yes. We'll read you the verse. Here it is. Exodus chapter 4, it says, so Moses went back home to Jethro, his father-in-law. He married a woman. Like, he built an entire life there running. His father-in-law, he said, please let me return to my relatives in Egypt. Moses said, I don't even know if they are still alive. Go in peace. Jethro replied, before Moses left Midian, the Lord said to him, return, here it is, return to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you have died. Here it is. Everything Moses ran from, afraid to confront, the things that he knew that he was going to have to face and probably be charged as a criminal and killed back in Egypt. God did not tell him that he had already taken care of those things until Moses said, I'm going. You need to know this. I need you to hear me right now. 80 years old, this man packed up his wife and kids, and he did not know that the things he feared the most in Egypt that he ran from, because remember I told you he killed an Egyptian. God says, okay, by the way, while you're going, I've taken care of the threats that are back in Egypt. I need you to hear me right now. The things that you think will never live in your life again. The happiness and the wholeness that you think are never going to be available because of all you've been through and walked through and the damage you've done to others and yourself. All the things, the confidence issues and the mistakes that you've made and the crap you've done in the process and the stubbornness you've lived in. Listen to me. The things that you think you can never work yourself out of, you're never truly going to see the potential and promise until you start moving towards it. But God's got something for you still. Oh my God. Look, I know that you got guilt for the kids, that what you did to your kids and what you did. Listen to me. There's some things that you're never going to truly see what God has for you until you actually move towards them. God told Moses, I've already taken care of it. Nothing is going to stop you in Egypt. Nothing is going to come against you. I'm going to make something special now that you've committed to it. Catalyst, if you will confront the things in your life that have hurt you, if you will confront the bitterness, if you will confront the things that are holding you back, if you will confront the feelings that you have for God, because truly you're angry at God, because you've been through some heartbreak that doesn't make sense. If you will commit and confront and quit complicating it, God will show you some incredible things. There are some things inside of you, not just outside of you, not just circumstances. There's some things inside of you that will live that you thought were never going to live again. I can tell you, when we started this church, I stopped liking people. I stopped. I got callous. I got hard. And I'm going to tell you, I love people more than I ever have in my life. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be the same for you. Whatever God's put in your heart and in your hand, when you decide to confront anything that stands against who you are and what God's called you to do, when you stop complicating it, God is going to blow your mind. Look at somebody and tell them, say, God's going to blow your mind. But you got to keep it simple. Quit complicating it. Look at somebody and say, go for it. Man, right now, will you hold your hands up? Lord, we want you. Do your thing. It may hurt looking at some of the reasons we've done what we've done and what we've done, but Lord, we want you. We want your presence. We want your power. We want your promises. We want you for you. It doesn't matter if we feel like a doormat in the season. It doesn't matter if we feel like people are smothering us. It doesn't matter how dysfunctional our marriage and our childhood was. We want you, and we will confront whatever needs to be confronted, and we will walk out of the grave in our life just like you walked out of the grave Easter Sunday. Will you just let us say that with me? God, I say, I want it! I want it!